How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Matt's Messy Garage. Got some brakes to do on the Honda Pilot, a drive belt to put on the Toyota Corolla. It is a nice sunny day here just outside of the garage, as you can see behind me. There's the Pilot. The Corolla's behind that. So, got a nice sunny blue day. It is a little chilly out. It's a balmy 41 degrees. Here's my Boxo parts right there, and the rotors, and of course got to break down the garage. Maybe I'll do a little lawnmower maintenance, figure out where my tires are leaking, because I got to air these things up every time I want to move it. So maybe that's something we'll do. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough time, but I'm gonna get everything broken down in here and start getting to work. All right, well, I'm having a little trouble getting this thing aired up. It's come off the bead on the rim, so I think I'm gonna start with getting this thing aired up and finding where the leaks are. Always have to move things around. It's a constant battle getting things done in Matt's Messy Garage. Alright, I got everything moved out of the way. And use my jack up this tire. Having a little problems getting some air in it. Alright, got some air in the tire, and I found the hole right away. So, get my trusty plug kit out. Ream out that hole. And get a plug in it. Alright, I got that plug in there. Had a little trouble with it, of course. Got that. Get some more air into this tire and check for some more leaks. Ended up finding another leak, so of course ream that one out and throw a plug in that. Checked again for leaks. Didn't find any. Well, I don't hear any more leaks, so I think that one's good. This rear tire loses a little bit of air. All the tires are kind of losing air, but that front one was the worst. Gonna air up the rest of these tires so that I can get this lawnmower pulled out of the garage and get to working on actual cars. All right, well, let's get the car jacked up. I like to go right in there on that B pillar, and it lifts, the front and the back up at the same time. Of course, I always forget to bring my impact home from work, so I grab the log wrench, break those tires free, and break those lug nuts free. And get this car jacked up. And that way I can get the tires off. Around to the driver's side now, and if you see where I put it, it's right on that B pillar. There's a pinch weld under there, and yeah, just lifts the front and the back up simultaneously. So if you need to put jack stands on both ends, makes it perfect. All right, use my handy drill with a adapter on it. Get these lug nuts off, pull the tires off, round to the other side, do the same thing, then get set up for doing the brakes. All right, well, here we are. Got the tires off. About to put these brake pads on. I bought these brake pads at O'Reilly's. They're import direct brand. Kind of like them. They come with little blades on them, I guess, to cut down on any vibrations or noises that you'll get while they're wearing in. I know I tout like buying American, but good luck finding auto parts made in America nowadays. It's a difficult thing. But I'm going to do pads and rotors, as you can see right here. Get these taken down. First thing I'll do is squeeze back my brake calipers. If you can come in here and look. Right in here is where I will take a pry bar and kind of squeeze those brake calipers back. And get the brake fluid out. So I just break loose the bleeder valve here, and usually takes a little bit to get something in there. Get these brake calipers squeezed back. Screwdriver works sometimes. I didn't bring any tools from work, so of course I'm going to struggle a little bit here, but it's all in fun. Let's see. Okay, so like I was saying, get my screwdriver in there, start squeezing back that caliper, and you can see the fluid start flowing out of that bleeder valve. Once it stops flowing, kind of let it rest, let the air bubbles come up, then lock that in. All right, I got that caliper squeezed back, and I'll just tighten up my bleeder valve. Start taking my caliper and the caliper bracket off so I can get my rotor off. Taking the bolts out of the caliper here. They were on there pretty tight. Using my hand as a hammer always does the trick. break those things loose and twist them out of there. All right, a good thing to do with these calipers is hang them up here on the strut, up out of your way, but just to make sure that they don't fall, I always tie them up. Tying up that caliper to the strut and get that caliper hanger down and out of the way so I can get to the rotor. Get that hanger off of there. As you can see, brake pad getting pretty thin. It's thinner than the backing plate. That's about my rule of thumb, is I like to change them if they're about the thickness of the backing plate or thinner. That's what I change them at. All right, we got some new hardware to stick on here. Get this old hardware off. The rotor, Hondas have these screws here that hold these rotors on. A lot of times they can be pretty stuck. These ones are actually loose, or not as stuck. I've had to take a hammer and punch because they were so stuck that it broke my screwdriver bit, or my impact screwdriver. Grab some brake clean. I'll be right back. Alright, I got my brake clean. I like to clean off the rotors. They have like a packing oil that they come in. Just take a quick spray of brake clean. Get that oil off of the rotor surface. And take the rotor, throw it up there. Make sure that you get that threaded hole for your screw to go back in. Get that screwed back in there. And here's the time where, before I do anything else, I make sure that my slider pins aren't jammed up. If you remember on the episode with the Toyota Corolla, I had one of them was jammed up. And doesn't hurt to get a little brake clean and get some of that brake dust off of that caliper hanger. And I don't know if you heard it or not, but my shoulder clicked, which means that those are torqued to spec. This is the fun part. Honda has these little springy things that go in their calipers. Don't know exactly what they're for. I've seen them with and without them. I've seen lots of cars without them. It doesn't really matter. I think it just is there to make it more troublesome to put back together. But I do like using all the parts that I'm given. So here I just cut that caliper free of that line up there and bring it down and reinstall it. Make sure I'm holding those brake pads together as I slip the caliper on over the top of them. Otherwise those stupid little springs push the pads out and make it a little difficult to get that caliper on. One side all together, and we'll get the other side set up. All right, here we are, passenger side. Do the same thing. Make it a little easier on myself, I think, this time. Twist this to the outside. But same thing, break the bleeder free. Get in here on the caliper and just find that sweet spot and squeeze it back. Squeeze that sweet spot right there. These calipers are a dual piston caliper, so you got to make sure both pistons get squeezed back. Some are single piston, some are 4 piston, so you'd have 2 more pistons on the outside, but my car's not that fancy. All right, so got that squeeze back there. Looks like got some brake fluid running out, so there's no air left. No air got in there. Tighten this up. Put that back on. Clean off the brake fluid. Figuring do all the cleaning all at once this time. So just like the other side, I'm gonna get this caliper off of here, tie it up onto the strut like I did before, and then get that hanger off and take my rotor off, and I will get everything cleaned up. I'll put some new hardware into that caliper hanger, put a rotor on, put the hanger back on, basically everything done in reverse order. Get the new brake pads in, caliper back on, get this thing ready to go. All right, here's my new brake pad. One thing I didn't mention on the other side is there's this little tattletale riveted on there. So when it gets to, down there to that minimum mark, this thing should start squeaking against the rotor. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. All right, once again, finishing up the reassembly here. Just getting that brake pad on there and hanging those stupid little springy things up. Get my caliper down and hold everything together. And then magically hold all of this stuff together and put that caliper on. Boom, get some bolts in it, and that is now hung up there. All right, well, there we go. Got rotors, well, got the brakes all together. Next thing to do here is put my tires back on, and then top off the master cylinder with some brake fluid. Once get that done, we can get it back down on the ground. All right, well, now I'm just gonna get the tires back on here, get this thing buttoned up and ready to go back on the ground. Once I do that, I can continue on, get some brake fluid in the master cylinder after I pump the brake a couple times, get those calipers filled back up, and we can be pretty much done with this project. All right, well, car's back on the ground. Open the hood up and get some brake fluid in it. All right, well, car's back on the ground. Wheels are all tight and got brake fluid in it, and I'm gonna start on my next car. Corolla's in here. Let's see what we're working with. The 1.8 liter beast. So what I'm doing is, there's the drive belt down here, and it's got some cracking and stuff on it. When we get it out, it's a little dark in there, but when I get it out of there, I'll show you what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna get started on getting this cover off, so give me that little bit extra room. All right, so down here is the tensioner, right in there. I don't know if you can see it very well. It's right about there. This is the tensioner pulley. So I'm gonna get this onto this little nut there, and then I usually have a tool for fan belt pulleys and tensioner pulleys, but I don't have it here, so I'm going to improvise, give myself a little more torque with this. Come on over here. So, and just pull that down, and over here you can see the belt loosened up off of the alternator there, and there you go. And now the fun begins, because I need to remember how this belt runs, and B, as you can see, the space I'm working in is very small. There we go. Belt is off, and like I was saying, the cracking on it, if you can see that all the way through, it's just worn. That eventually leads to this belt breaking and me getting a phone call from my daughter saying something's wrong with her car and it's the end of the world. So here's my new belt, Master Pro, probably made in the People's Republic of China. Let's see. It says C product for country of origin. So, does it say it on the actual belt? Oh, no, it's made in Mexico. All right. Well, as you can see, the space I have to work with is very minimal. Right there, engine on one side, frame on the other. I gotta drop this belt down in there, get it around the power steering pulley, and then over, up and around the tensioner, and down and around the crank pulley, come back up to the alternator, and then it runs down around the water pump and straight across the top for the alternator to the tensioner pulley. Actually, alternator to the power steering pulley. Of course, I'm getting real into my work up there on top of the engine and just working it, trying to get that belt up and around those pulleys there. Very labor intensive job that I like to lay down and do. Alright, now as you can see, there's my tensioner. There we go. We are on all of the pulleys. We're good. Cover back on. All right. Well, there we are. Belts on. This car is ready to rock. All right, well, thanks for joining me for another episode of Matt's Messy Garage. This is the difficult part, is doing these voiceover things, trying to eliminate my dead air that I have here and there with those fast-moving frames. Well, it was really cool to have you guys with me. If you were with me, I don't know. I mean, this isn't live. I don't have a live studio, nothing like that. But hope you all enjoyed it. Hope it was informative. And hope you guys come back. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, whatever these things are that you're supposed to say. I don't know. I can't ever remember exactly what it is. But yeah, just another day in Matt's Messy Garage. Hope y'all had a good time watching and listening to me fumble over every word that's coming out of my mouth, because, hey man, I don't have a script. I'm not really doing this scripted. So it's just whatever comes into my head. See y'all later.